change t-shirt color. Hi and welcome to this video tutorial, and in this session I'll show you how you can quickly replace the color inside an image, and this particular way is foolproof. Don't worry if you get confused about this technique, because I'll teach you about better techniques later in the further course. But that will require additional steps and a few other bits of knowledge. Through this specific technique, anyone can remember the upcoming steps and they produce good results. So you can watch this lecture if you want the easy way of replacing the color. Okay, firstly, let's open an image named as a portrait2.png from the resources folder, or simply drag that image right into the Photoshop like this. Great. Now I will duplicate my initial layer and we'll call this option 1. Next, I'll click on my foreground color and I will play around with my color picker so I can get a nice shade of blue. You can use whatever you want. I'll go with this one. Great. Here's why this is a foolproof. Go to your tools panel, click and hold on the brush tool. From this menu, choose color replacement tool. Focus on your options bar now, so we can set everything correctly. The mode here is the most important choice. Here we want to change this red t-shirt and make it a blue one. So the best setting for the job is color inside this mode option. While the luminosity of the mode option will try and match the brightness of our foreground color. If we try it out, we'll see it's not going to look right. Again, the saturation mode is great when you want to adjust the intensity of your initial color, but mostly it's going to wash out the t-shirt color. And hue produces the weird results because it tries to change the color, but it doesn't affect the saturation or brightness. So that means it will look too bad on vividly colored areas. So my advice is that you stick to this mode as color. My brush should be fairly large, say like 500 pixels should be enough. For its hardness, I want it somewhere in the middle, so 50% should do just fine. Lastly, my tolerance will impact how loosely Photoshop will replace my colors. Here I'll start with 20%. So let's start painting and then we can adjust it as we go. And as you can see, it does a pretty good job. This is a great exercise because it forces you to use your square bracket keys as you go along. And that's because if you focus on his color and your brush is too big, you'll make him look like a smurf. That's not the goal here. So for small areas, decrease your brush size by pressing big bracket opening key. And zoom in by holding the Alt button with scroll up, so you can better address those spots. Right, as you can see, things are going pretty well except for the shoulder region. There it seems Photoshop isn't doing a great job, and that's because of all the details in that area. The color isn't as solid as in this region, so that's why we are having trouble replacing it. But that's why we have this tolerance slider. adjust the tolerance slider to start painting again in the shoulder areas. Continue painting, and I recommend you go over each area several times. Remember to zoom in and adjust your size. Otherwise, you'll have a hard time with these lips. Even so, it's going to be tricky to avoid painting over his skin. But that's the trade-off. On one hand, this is very simple to set up. Just choose a color and start painting. On the other hand, it's not very flexible. When you go over an area by accident, your only choice is to use Ctrl-Z to undo. The trouble is, if you are holding down your mouse click for 20 to 30 seconds at a time, and once you undo, you lose all your progress. So this isn't a perfect technique. It definitely has its drawback, but it's very easy to remember, and that's why I started with this technique. Let's move on to another option. We'll hide this copy and make another copy one. Right. Here, this is a bit more flexible. Go to Image Adjustments. From this list, choose Replace Color. Next, you have to click anywhere on his t-shirt. That's because we want to edit. And immediately, this shows up in this preview window. And you may want to adjust this fuzziness option for a better result. Here, I have it set all the way up to 100. As I take the slider down, we can see how other area is faded away. And we are left with more of this t-shirt. If we switch to the middle color picker icon, right here, this will add to our affected area. I'll click somewhere in these darker regions. Okay, seems this is too much. So again, let's get the third color picker this time. Focus on his arms and on his face. Okay, now for the color replacement, we'll use these three handles from the bottom. The hue is what you are mostly interested in. Make sure you zoom in a bit so you can better see the results. Ctrl-1 is your friend in this case. And now move these handles up and down and see how the new t-shirt looks. Great. This is another technique that's easy to remember. But as you can see from these edges of the hand of this person, we're still having trouble isolating parts of the image. Nevertheless, we're working on a duplicate layer, so we can tune these results until we're happy. The great thing is you can enable or disable this localized color clutters and see how this affects your photo. Sometimes this may yield great results, but it's all a matter of fine-tuning this fuzziness slider. So these are two techniques that are quick and easy to remember. If you are not 100% satisfied, don't worry. When we start talking about selection, I'll present some options that are much more flexible and accurate, though they require a bit more effort. In the meantime, try it out on your own photos and see how well you do. Well, in the next class, we'll be learning about non-destructive editing, where we can edit pictures without losing their quality. Till then, have fun and stay creative.